Hello, my name is Anastasia and I am from Russia. I have talked to many foreigners who come to my country, and most of them strongly believe that our people don't speak any foreign languages at all. And they face this problem, this situation, even in Moscow, to say nothing of other cities or towns. So in this video I want to share with you some of my thoughts on this topic and try to explain why people from abroad get such an impression. And of course there is more than one reason for that. The first thing that I would like to mention is the period of Iron Curtain in the Soviet history. At that time our people were not allowed to go abroad at all. And it lasted more or less till the beginning of the 90s, till 1993. So only then we could go to some other countries. And now let's imagine that you are a teacher, for example, of English language in the Soviet Union in the 80s or even in the beginning of the 90s in Russia already. So, the first thing, you have never been abroad. Moreover, you have never spoken English in your life, because foreigners were not allowed to our country at all. Yeah? Then, you haven't seen any TV program, anything at all in English language. You haven't heard any song in English language. Everything was forbidden. So, not a word of English speech at all in your life. Never. Not a single word of speaking practice, ever. So, let's imagine that you are a student and you have to learn English at school, at least to get a satisfactory mark. And this is your only motivation, because you know that you will never ever go abroad in your life, that you will never have an opportunity to speak any foreign person in your life, you will never use this language. So, dull picture, isn't it? And after the Iron Curtain, when we were allowed to go abroad to visit some countries, it's not like everybody just started doing it. No, not at all. It was a very difficult period for our economy. People didn't have enough money, and we can easily add 10 or even 15 more years to that period, to that date. So it was not until 2003, 2005 when people really started going out, going abroad for holidays on a larger scale. Of course, there have always been exceptions, and there are exceptions now, but most of people who are now older than 30 and 40 cannot speak foreign languages for that reason. And it's not like all the teachers of English or other languages immediately went abroad to speak, to listen to foreign speech. Not at all. So they just didn't have money, couldn't afford it, and even now a lot of teachers from that period continue their work in our schools without any language practice in their life at all. And even now, most people from Russia cannot afford going abroad on holidays, even on holidays. So people who travel more live in big cities such as Moscow, St. Petersburg, Ekaterinburg, Novosibirsk, and some other. Yes, they do it, but still most of them just go somewhere for a week in a year, once a year, or twice a year if they can afford it, just to Turkey, to Egypt, to Thailand, okay, even to Spain or some other countries. But they stay in tourist places, and the staff there usually speaks Russian, so there is no motivation. If you live in some city in Russia and you think, okay, once a year I will go abroad for a week with, where everyone speaks Russian, so maybe I'll need a couple of English phrases, that's all. That's all. So even if they want to, they won't just have practice. So they won't just have a lot of opportunities to use their English. There is something else. So, as you know, the economy of our country is based on other things rather than tourism, and there are not so many foreign tourists here. So, people are not used to live communication. They are not used to this contact with foreign people. And even if they learn, for example, English, they know some words, they can make sentences. When they hear a sudden question addressed to them somewhere in the street, they're just taken by surprise. They are not just used to it, and they feel quite frightened, and they forgot any single word at all. So it's easier for them just to say, no, sorry, I don't understand, or I don't speak English, or just something in Russian, than try to overcome all these feelings, emotions, and really deal with this unusual situation, really. As for Moscow, I guess that the most popular place where foreign tourists or visitors can ask for help, for directions, is the very center there of the Red Square. And you should remember that very often this area is full of people who come from other parts of our country just for traveling as well. And even if they could help you, even if they can speak some language, they just don't know anything. They just can't do it because they are there for the first time in their life. So, and the motivation for learning foreign languages is lower in these regions because people can't afford traveling often, they can't afford paying for private lessons for their children. So that's it. And I teach foreign languages in Moscow, and I know that there is always great demand for English teachers here. So in Moscow and St. Petersburg, many people want their children to speak one or more foreign languages. But these children are young now, and I guess that we'll need 20 or 30 more years to overcome this situation and to get rid of this impression that no one speaks foreign languages in our country. So this is all that I wanted to tell you in this video, and I hope it was interesting for you. Of course, it's only my opinion, and if you have some other ideas, some other thoughts, you're welcome with your comments. And thank you for your attention. Goodbye.